Hey guys, Neurolinguistic programming is a fantastic tool. The user needs to be able to utilize it well as well. So I'll give you a few examples of what I mean, and then perhaps we can craft a solution together. First of all, let's just admit it, we won't have the best of days all the time. Sometimes we just wake up on the wrong side of bed and it's not very good for us. We need to still think about and focus on the intention of that particular day and find out who is the best version of ourselves to be able to lean into that day. Take for example, bad sleep or interrupted sleep because the neighbor was making a lot of noise. You can't do anything about that. It's pretty much like if there were an earthquake, there really isn't very much you can do. However, there are certain choices that you can make inside of yourself utilizing neurolinguistic programming to be able to create the kind of space and the mental focus that you need in order to get to where you need to go. So I remember one night when I had really poor sleep, what I did was I started by forgiving the circumstances around me, including myself, that I got a little bit irritated, I got a little bit edgy, and I needed to move on because if I were hung up with that poor sleep, then I wouldn't be able to focus on the training that I was going to do in the morning. So as I think about that, I utilize the mental capacities that neurolinguistic programming gives to me. One of it is known as submodalities. I've mentioned this before, but I'd like to make a mental breakdown of all of the characteristics of submodalities in this particular video. So inside your mind, you can actually make a characteristic comparison across two different states, one which is problematic, one which is really powerful and empowering. For instance, when I wake up in the morning and I feel irritated, what can I use in order to counteract that? Well, perhaps I could utilize gratitude. Gratitude is a very underrated emotional state, and one of the reasons why I want to use gratitude is because whenever there are heavy feelings and it feels like the work that is not being done is not very helpful, in the environment that I'm in, perhaps I need to find ways to not try to make other people increase their standards, but to accept that this is just part of the pathway. And acceptance and gratitude go hand in hand. Compassion, acceptance, gratitude, love, all of these things are far more important emotional states than just drive and motivation, for example. You might drive toward a result, but if you don't love your people, they're not going to want to make that result happen. So here's the first thing that you need to do. Going into a state of gratitude is to think about the genuine positive experience of individuals and think about what they have contributed to your life, how you have been a beneficiary of the way that they have been, and utilize that as a means to improve life in general. So perhaps you can think of a random person right now and think about how your interactions would be completely different today if you had not met this person and had that particular conversation. So I know so many people, especially in my classes, whenever I think about them, they give me different ways of being because they stretch me in different ways. So it's nice to know that I can actually be empathetic and compassionate toward their needs. So every time I think of these people, I have a warm feeling inside my heart. So this area is filled with an experience that I want to amplify. And what you can do in neurolinguistic programming is to grow that feeling, to make it double in size or maybe triple in size, so that it doesn't just increase the sensation, but it also increases a mental filter so that whenever you're taking a look outside of yourself, this entire worldview completely changes. And I'm actually experiencing it right now. So as I experience the glow or the expansion of this feeling of compassion and gratitude, I'm thinking of these people and I'm thanking them for creating this new space within me, this opportunity for me to revisit the world in different multiple places and to have a perspective shift, literally. Now, while that is happening, I'm also recognizing that gratitude itself is a soft state. It doesn't help me to move into action, but it does stop me from doing stupid things, like trigger reactions. I want to lash out at somebody, or I want to create a negative experience of the world today. It's not very helpful, and that's why sometimes forgiveness can also be a very useful state. To stand and immerse in those states is to mindfully bring back that experience and let it go into your body. So once you have it in your body, you'll notice certain things about your emotional states. They are in a certain location inside of your body. It could be in your head, it could be in your arms, it could be in your heart. At the same time, they might take on certain shapes. Like for example, for me, gratitude is like a circle. Frame it up as a way of asking which shape fits better in this emotional state. Is it a circular shape or is it an angular shape? And if it's an angular shape, how many, is it a triangle or is it a square? And I know that sounds like a strange thing to ask, but it's a very powerful question to ask. Like for example, irritation is like a whole bunch of needles to me. And if I were to change the shape deliberately into a rounded shape, it helps me to release that state of irritation. Likewise, the experience of a clockwise motion versus an anti-clockwise motion is actually quite important to me. So whenever I take a look at an experience of gratitude, it's a wholesome clockwise motion. If you take a look at my body and based on my orientation facing you, it is a clockwise direction looking from the plan view of my head. And comparatively, if I had very angsty kind of emotions, they tend to feel like they are more anti-clockwise inside of my body. And whenever I experience these emotions, they're not exact. It's not as if the emotion really is moving around in my body. It just feels as if it is like that. And sure enough, the physiology may have certain kinds of gestures like this compared with like this, which Dr. Richard Bandler has called neurohypnotic repatterning. All you need to do is to change the direction of the feelings, and you can spin feelings in a direction that will be more effective for you. So rather than having gratitude fleeting, which is a clockwise direction like this, and it's a very fast movement, I slow it down and I expand the size of this experience. And it's such a wonderful experience. It allows me to really immerse and appreciate that sense of gratitude. But to take gratitude even higher, there's an even more powerful approach. And I believe I heard this from Andrew Huberman, who was talking about stress relief and gratitude. And one of the ways to do this is not just to think about whom you're grateful for, but all the people whom were grateful to you and have expressed it. Now, of course, this requires some real life feedback, because you can't just, you can imagine it, but it's not necessarily going to be the same. So when someone comes up to you and tells you, hey, you were an inspiration, it was a powerful experience meeting you, thank you so much for leveling up my thinking. Now that kind of gratitude is even more powerful, because if you think about it, it's someone speaking to you, and it enables you to change auditory submodalities. You can make things sound much richer, much more sincere, much warmer around you by changing the mental qualities of the sound inside your head, so that the quality of the sound actually matches with the quality of the feeling inside of your body. And then you can sit there and meditate on this feeling and really amplify this feeling, so that you can let every single part of your body feel it and lean into it. Why is this important? Because the alternative is terrible. If you lean into your angst, you lean into your fears, you lean into your disbelief about the world, it's going to destroy you. It's going to be like a poison that you're drinking, hoping that other people will die. So what I highly recommend is the use of embodied good, positive feelings that you can feel inside your body. It's almost like a mental shower that you use inside of your head. So you can start off by making a list of all the great feelings that you ever want to encounter, that you have encountered before, and then start putting them inside of your body systematically. I love putting states of gratitude inside of my body. I like the state of calmness and peace in the morning. I like the state of being able to overcome anything. And also, what's useful is that whenever I have this kind of state, it actually supports my belief that anything is possible. Do you have a mindset that anything is possible if you just put your mind to it? I do, and I do recognize that a lot of the circumstances around me sometimes prevent me from feeling this way. So what do I have to do? I need to now change the submodalities of my belief from one that is doubtful and limiting to one that is empowering and driving of me. So something that's absolute in my mind would be the belief that the sun will rise today. And if the sun will rise today, then I have a certain absolute belief about it. I can lean into that and I can implement that more effectively if I can think of something that I'm doubting that I want to believe more. So all I'm doing is taking the submodalities of something that I believe and implanting into the situation where I have disbelief. For example, if the disbelief is dark, dull, defocused, and I hear dreary sounds inside my head, whereas in the one of absolute belief, it's crisp, it's clear, it's bright, and all I do is I transplant those submodalities to take a look at my situation as if it's bright, crisp, and allows me this sense of freshness inside my mind. So by looking at the situation that I feel dreary, it actually amplifies my submodalities in a manner that is almost like taking a look at the world through different lenses, isn't it? So submodality work is a very powerful thing, and I would highly encourage any one of you to practice some of this. In fact, if you want to really practice neurolinguistic programming, you need to understand the nuances of submodalities, which I'm going to go through in my next part of this video series. Submodality work is very highly misunderstood by a lot of people. They think it's a template, they think it's a framework. It's actually a process inside your mind that you do on a regular basis. So when I get to that, I hope that it will give you some sense of what I'm doing right here with myself as an example of what I might do in changing my emotional states. Some people just think it's, oh, just change your emotional states just like that, and you snap your fingers and it so happens that you are able to do it. Now, don't take for granted that this is always possible, because there's some people who just don't have the means or mechanics to be able to accomplish that outcome. And what I'm attempting to do is to democratize the use of neurolinguistic programming everywhere. Granted, some of you might actually get it faster than others, which is great. Use it for yourself. But if you want to be a practitioner to help other people to create a shift in their mindset, in a shift in their emotional states, shift in their beliefs, you need to have a clarity of practice in order to be able to do that for other people. And that's where I highly recommend that you take on an NLP practitioner certification in order to enhance whatever coaching skills that you already have. So at this juncture, I'd like to highly recommend that you practice some of these strategies in order for you to get a better sense of how to go about doing this. I've summarized it in a PDF that you can actually download, PDF summary of this particular video and the steps that you ought to take in order to amplify good and powerful feelings. Then we'll take a look at the mechanics of how that worked in the next video, where I talk about the mechanics of the mind, submodalities. So if you like this and it was beneficial for you as an NLP practitioner or someone who's revising your NLP syllabus that you haven't dusted off for a good number of years, I would recommend that you practice even more. If you're interested, type in comments down below, share with me your experiences, and I'll do my best to give you as much distance coaching as possible. Nothing is better than the real life experience, if you know what I'm talking about. So all you need to do is to share this, like and subscribe, keep in touch with me so that you'll get benefits of the upcoming videos that I'll be doing on neurolinguistic programming. If you find that this is a powerful mindset to have and you want to see additional applications, also hit the like and subscribe button, because I'll be doing this for entrepreneurship, for professional career development, transitions in life, and more. If you know somebody who could benefit from this, share them this link so that they will be able to elevate themselves beyond suffering and pain and to be able to take actions for abundance. I'll see you in my next video.